My 500 story is I go to a local laundromat called Best Wash up the street. And next to Best Wash is a Domino's Pizza that delivers to Christ Church for multiple occasions. And I was in the laundromat and I was short like $1. So I went over to the machine and I was like, oh man, I'm short like a nickel. But I had $20 in my purse. So the attendant came over and he said, well, I'll just get it for you. You're always here. I said, well, that's great. I'll just go over to Domino's and get your change. No problem. So he gave me my money. I went to the laundromat, started everything. I started everything in my washer, and I went over to Domino's. I go over to Domino's. Now, mind you, I had just had coffee and lunch, and I wasn't hungry, but all of a sudden I decided I wanted a habanero and bacon bread something. And so that's what I ordered, and the young lady behind the counter was saying how long her and her husband had worked there, and I told her, I said, well, have you ever heard of Christ Church? And she said, yeah, we deliver pizza all the time for all the occasions. And I said, well, I go to Christ Church and we're doing a 500. And I explained to her what that meant, and she was very receptive. And she said, well, my husband and I have been looking for a church home, and we're led because our kids did something at their school where they were inquiring about Christ, and they wanted their parents to tell them about Jesus. So I gave her, bam, my card that says join online, and I invited her and her husband, and they gave me my food, and I go back into the laundromat, and as I got to the door, I heard an unction from the Holy Spirit that was like, give the attendant the food, because I knew I wasn't hungry. So I handed him the food and a card, and I said, this is on behalf of Christ Church. He said, thank you. He went and sat down, and that was fine. And I continued about my laundry. And when I got done, I was talking to a young lady, and she was like, what are you handing out? I said, oh, those are cards to attend our church. And she said, well, tell me about your church. And I proceeded to tell her a little bit about Christ Church, and I presented her with a card. And just that quick, just that easy, God delivered I got 3 invitations in one day, just going to the laundromat, minding my business, thinking, oh, I'm not going to be able to get my 500, but I did. And he multiplied it by 3, because that's the kind of God he is. So that's my story.